Hello, my friend. How are you doing? Are you having a good week? I hope you're having a good week. It is Wednesday. The sun is shining. It's somewhere in November-ish. And I was thinking about rest. And part of it is when we get into the autumn and into the winter, most creatures turn their activity down a little bit. They're in line with the season. And I always think, bears hibernating. Somehow that seems like a fantasy life to me, going off and hibernating for a month or 2 or 3 or and but it is true that they turn down their activity and they go into rest mode. And partly it has to do with the weather because obviously it's cold out and you can't do as much when you're foraging for food if you're in the northern climates. But I was thinking about rest and what is so we talk about we need rest, we need rest. But do we know what rest is anymore? And this came from a conversation I was having with a podcast guest. And we were talking about the difference between sleep and rest. So yes, I'm a huge fan of sleep. And I believe that you need to get regular sleep. And if you don't believe me, go read the research on what happens when you don't get enough sleep, what its impacts on your body. I mean, an easy way to access that information is to read the Ariana Huffington book on sleep. She has some pretty good information. And I just encourage you that there's not, no, unless you're a brain surgeon or maybe a doctor who the only doctor who can do this one particular thing. Unless there is something actually life and death, most of the things that you sacrifice your sleep for are not life and death. But that's not what this podcast is about. This podcast is about rest, which is different than sleep. Sleep probably falls under the umbrella of rest, but rest is bigger than sleep. And rest, I feel like we don't know anymore how to rest. And this popped, you know that these ideas come to me in the strangest possible ways. And I was actually watching television. So I don't watch standard cable television. I have, a couple of streaming services that I watch. And I was watching, I don't know if you have ever watched the Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot series by David Suchet, and he makes such a good Poirot. I mean, I know Kenneth Branagh, he's a big star and everything, but you know, the this television series with David he will always be my Poirot. And he wasn't even really involved in the scene. He walked into a room with 2 women, and they were in Egypt. They were excavating an archaeological site, but there was 2 women, and they were just sitting in the library, it was quiet. There's nothing going on. One was just kind of reading a book, not even not in a studious, I must take notes and pay attention kind of way, in a casual kind of way, and I couldn't even tell you what the other woman was doing. And it just struck me that while it is a huge boon and blessing and such an amazing thing, because look, I'm talking to you on the internet, to have access to information at your fingertips, to be able to talk to people on the other side of the world in an instant, to be able to check the weather without having to open the window. All of the things that are now available to us because we have so much available to us. But it's kind of like when you first start dating someone, they are all consuming. You want to spend every single minute with them and they take over your life. So I feel like we have lost our equilibrium of what is enough. And we now have almost become addicted to this. And it's true. I was talking to someone just a little while ago and we made the comment that you can see it standing anytime there's a space in time, standing in a line, waiting for an appointment. Some people even waiting at a stoplight, highly legal, highly dangerous. You don't know what to do with those quiet spaces, so you pull out a device and you start staring at it and flipping through things, and what if I miss something? What if a post comes that I should react, give it a like? Oh my gosh, what if I miss something? And I understand where it comes from. And I will not say that it never happened to me because I fully recognize when I've been addicted and sucked into that, the newness. Why do you think new social platforms keep coming? The newness, the new, the new, the new. And instead of having a rest in between, we just jump from one thing to the next. And I feel like what it's doing is it's always keeping you at keeping people, maybe not you personally, keeping people at this high frequency of doing, consuming, 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 reacting, and there is no rest. When is there rest? And you can see it in people. So I can remember I once took a friend to a yoga class, and this was way, way back. I wasn't even teaching yoga then. So it's going to be uh, over 20 years ago. And we weren't even sitting still, but we were moving slowly. And she was just, you could see her frustration winding up. And this was even before there was a lot of social media. Was there even social media then? I don't know. But we wind ourselves up into these tight little springs that have to always have something going on, something feeding it, something happening. And there is no quiet space. There is no just sitting. I remember there was a comic, or maybe it was a meme, something about someone saying to their friend, I saw this dude sitting at the coffee shop. He was such a weirdo. He was just sitting there drinking coffee. So, which I guess implication was he wasn't staring at his telephone like everybody else in the coffee shop. He must have been a weirdo. He was just sitting there drinking coffee. Imagine. And I know that it's very trendy and it's such a cool thing now to talk about, oh, mindfulness, mindfulness, mindfulness. And by the way, I am a huge fan of mindfulness. I'm just going to fully admit to it because it's what I do, right? I I talk about it, I live it. I've been meditating for I don't know, 25 maybe years. I do practice yoga, I do practice Tai Chi, but it doesn't matter how what you call it. It doesn't matter how you find it, but allowing yourself to find a quiet time. That's what rest is. Quiet, where you're not doing anything. And we're also in a society where what's rewarded is the people who are doing. Oh, look how much they're doing. Look how much they're achieving. Look at how hard they work. Look at they go above and beyond. Look, they worked 18 hours a day until they dropped dead. How great were they? Too bad they're dead now. I know I'm being a little tongue in cheek and a little harsh there, but it's true. It's so true that I know I did a podcast on we celebrate the wrong things, but we we idolize the people who are draining themselves and putting themselves so far beyond the above and beyond when really in reality they could give more if they were rested. If you are solid in yourself and if you recharge your batteries and you take that time to be well, why do you think the podcast is called Back to Me? You take that time to be well in yourself. When you find that place, you actually can get more done and you will have more energy. I was speaking with someone recently who gave themselves the gift of a whole day of doing nothing, and the next day, they got so much done, it shocked them. And it wasn't because they were trying It wasn't a trying to catch up kind of energy. It wasn't a, "Oh my god, I took a day off, I'm so far behind." It was a, "I rested a whole day, and I have so much energy. I can do this. I can get this done. Look, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this." So it sounds logical, and yet we still and it is logical. We just never believe it. We just don't believe it's possible. No, I can do this. I can work till midnight and then get up at 5 in the morning and go to the gym, and then I can get this report done because I'm a doer. But I'm gonna invite you, even try, because for some people it's super uncomfortable. What would I give you? Try 20 minutes. 20 minutes, no screens, no nothing. You know what I mean? Maybe flip through a magazine if you want, if that's too much to be sitting quietly. But just try 20 minutes of staring out the window and looking at the squirrels. You'd be amazed how awesome you will feel afterwards because you do need rest. Rest is a huge piece of being able to be everything. And you need more than sleep to find a place of rest. My friend, that is my thought for this week. Maybe because I just came back from the woods and I find it very restful to sit in a cottage and stare out the window at the lake and do nothing. If you can, that's a great way to rest. So have an amazing week. This Friday's Amazing Human Celebrity Chat is Money Marcy, and she's going to talk about financial literacy with me. And of course, as always, if you want to talk about rest with me, send me a DM, send me a message. If you're interested in where your wellness is, because I do talk about 6 aspects of wellness. On the website, there is now a quiz where you can just take a fun quiz and it will tell you where you might want to start working on your wellness. And if you found it interesting, if you find any of the episodes helpful, please feel free to share them with your friends. And I would always love if you like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. Have an amazing week, my friends. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.